I've been a little sick this weekend, so I have kind of a sore throat, so if you can't hear me so well, I'm sorry, but it's about the loudest I can talk. Basically, we'll be watching some games from the Click Arena tournament, which Tillerman played in I believe it was somewhere in France. Is a major tournament which had about a ton of the pros. I mean, I think it was something like 32 pros were invited. And right here, we'll sync up at 15 seconds, so it gets 15 seconds, and then we'll start the replay. This match is between Insomnia and ESU Soul. I just kind of picked it kind of as random. It looked like it was kind of neat. It was on Null Wood. It wasn't the norm for Lost Temple. I want to see how maybe people changed what they did on that. And it was also Night Elves vs. Human, which I feel is kind of a match that's argued on which one might win and how so. I think that if you don't massively use Ancients of War, then Human has a pretty good advantage over Night Elf, because Insomnia really has been the leader in the pack of developing strategies that can beat him. So we'll start the replay here, and I'll just go over a few things. And we're starting at 15 seconds, so basically what I assume I'll see here is ESU Soul abuse a whole bunch of Ancients here, as is the norm, and I'll see Insomnia attempt to try to fast expand. It seems like these days you have a lot of fast expanding going on, which is kind of strange, because one thing I've noticed is a lot of Night Elf players, their base is so undefended. All it has is 5 Moonwells in it, and all their Ancients are outside their base. So what I don't understand is why Human players don't go back to the tower footman rush, just walk right into their base, build some towers. If the Night Elf player is not willing to invest a couple Ancients of War within his base, he's not going to be able to hold that off. I can pretty much guarantee that. If you start building his towers before he has Ancients of War in his base, he's going to lose no matter what. So I'm not sure why Human players aren't going back to that, because it would work. I can almost guarantee that. There's nothing, I mean, one Demon Hunter, one Keeper of the Grove will not be able to hold off a 5 to 6 footman rush with 3-4 peons all building towers in his base extremely fast. This is one thing I like to see, is people are using farms because they're cheap. They're putting them at the outskirts of their base, which is a really cool thing. I'm not really sure who started that. I took a small break from Warcraft 3 where I hadn't really played much other than in tournaments, in the money tournaments, which I did pretty well in, surprisingly. But basically, I've been seeing a lot more of this, and I think it's pretty interesting, because when I left, or when I really stopped playing, is a lot. I didn't see very much of that, so I think that's pretty neat that someone has come around and started changing a few things there, even if it's small things like that. It's just it's helpful, you know. It's like that's a major thing. Anyways, you see ESU Soul starts sending out a bunch of wisps here. I mean, he's got 4 to be sending out right here for scouting, but I assume right here he's also going to try to fast expand with Tree of Life and Ancient of War. That kind of stuff isn't my style of play, and I really don't enjoy it much. I think it's kind of lame, because generally speaking, I just feel that those kind of strategies won't make you better, especially with the upcoming beta, where those things won't even apply anymore. I mean, a lot of these players are going to be so used to building Ancients of War when the expansion set comes out. I think they're going to be lost for a little while. But, you know, when it comes down to the money tournaments, you got to do everything you can to win. So, there you go. You see people doing that. You see Soul here creep these guys out. This is extremely basic thing to do on Null Wood, is creep out these level 3 merchant shops. Give you some great items. Should always creep those out. Personally, I just go for the middle guy that drops the item, try to circle around, get to all 3 real quick, and then go heal up. I find that's best. You see Insomnia here is doing the same thing. He's going for the Tomes of XP, which is smarter for him, because the Purge will kill his water elementals, and he really needs Tomes of Experience, because if he can get Tomes of Experience, he can get to his Brilliance Auras, and that's how he needs to win the game. Because if he can get high-level Brilliance Aura with the Mountain King, he's basically got the game in his hand, in my opinion. So he just needs to live for a while, and he'll do well. Now see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You see, ESU Soul has about 14 supply in peons, and he's already built a Tree of Life and Ancient of War, which means he had upwards of 21 supply in wisps. Sorry, upwards of 16 supply in wisps. 21 supply total. You see, he's got nothing in his base. A Demon Hunter could not hold a footman tower rush right now. I don't see why Insomnia doesn't give it a shot. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he feels that he's going to be Ancients of War, and he doesn't feel that Soul is going to fast expand. That's a good possibility. I'm not really sure, but if he felt that Soul was going to fast expand, in my opinion, as I played quite a bit of random, just as a general player, I think that a fast tower footman rush at Null Woods is one of the best maps to do it in, because you can be so close to your opponent, they have no chance of stopping it. I pretty much guarantee that. So it's very interesting that he doesn't choose to do that. But as you can see here, this guy's got a Tree of Life and Ancient of War. He's going to go creep those expansions. He's building a whole bunch of Moonwells. Basically, he plans on living just off his Demon Hunter. See, he got Emoite, which is hurting. And Insomnia didn't turn a few guys into Militia. Not really sure why, but Maybe it's just an error on his part. But as you can see, that's just a tremendous amount of damage. Those immolations can really just cut up your militia, especially if there's not an archmage around. But if you have an archmage, a couple footmen around, it's not going to do much. It'll get cut up pretty fast. So generally, that kind of idea is generally best to just disrupt their ability to creep. And as you can see, he did that very well because he forced Insomnia to come back to his base. And he can keep harassing him while he's at a moment of vulnerability where his ancients are trying to expand, and then he's got nothing in his base. I mean, all his moon wells are pretty much empty right now. If Insomnia charged his base and had a lumber mill up, he'd win. But, you know, maybe what Soul is doing isn't what Insomnia thought he would be doing, and that's working towards Soul's advantage right now. This is actually a smart thing right here. He's playing Wands of Negation, I guess, to dispel water elementals. That's actually a really good idea. Generally on some of the maps it's not as easily attainable. Like on Lost Temple you have to go a little more out of your way. But that's pretty good because you can really disrupt creeping well, especially when they're so close and available to you. And you can see he's immediately going after the Archmage because he has to. If you let this Archmage live a couple levels, it's going to be impossible to stop him with Priests and the Mountain King. It's just so hard to get that guy. And right now he's going back to get some XP, I assume, off these things he's creeping here. No reason to lose out on the XP here. You can see he's switching targets to wound up all the guys to buy time for his hero to get over here so he can start getting all the XP. Which is a really smart thing to do. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, that's like a whole level to his Demon Hunter, so it's easily worth it. You see Insomnia continues creeping and also expands. He's only using 3 guys to fast build his thing. I don't know, I guess, yeah, he doesn't really have very many peons. He lost some to the rush, so that's why that is. But he has quite a bit of money, Soul does. And Insomnia is pretty broke, and I'd have to hand that straight up to the militia, or the immolation rush, which Soul executed on Insomnia pretty well there. And Insomnia continues to go for the Tome of XPs. I think he's really looking for a Tome of XP to get level 3, because then those Wands of Negation will do nothing to his water elementals, and he can creep real easy with level 2 water elementals. Yeah, pretty much a joke for him. As you can see here, this guy's going Ancients of Wind. I'm not really sure why he's doing that. I don't think he's going to go Druids of the Town. If he does, I'd be quite surprised. That'd be something I haven't really seen very much of. I've seen it a lot in Night Elf vs. Night Elf, and it's kind of annoying, but it is truly effective. I would guess it'd be pretty effective, but you know, I'm not really sure. I mean, humans generally have a lot of units, a lot of 2 supply units. You'd need a tremendous number of Druids of the Town to effectively cyclone things up in the air. I think what he might be trying to do is go to Chimeras extremely fast, but maybe I don't think so actually, because otherwise he'd be upgrading his Eternity. So he's really not going for that apparently. You see these Entangle Rushes. A lot of human players have always complained that the Entangle Rush is too powerful. And this is what it comes down to. With human, you just have to ignore the little things. That is their most important little tip anyone can give you, is with human, you have to ignore the little things. I've said this all the time to Jim and Kane back when we used to practice against each other. As human, they just have to stand there and fight and ignore the small things that harass them. They have no ability to deal with harassment, so you just ignore it, and you build surplus, or you just replace. And that's how you have to fight those kind of things off. There's another thing, I mean, as you can see, What's-His-Name has nothing right there. If Insomnia, I'm not sure, he's got about 300 gold. If he just, and he's producing units, if he just grabs some mercs, I think he could do a pretty strong hit on ESU Soul here. Sorry, I'm not really familiar with the names here. But yeah, I think he can do a pretty good hit on Soul. I mean, these Ancients of Winds are in bad position. He can blow up all those Moonwells, and all this guy's got is a Demon Hunter and a Keeper of the Grove. I mean, I guess Soul's kind of playing toward the long game and trying to get that to work for him.